How's everybody doing? Rudy Alpha Investments, I'm coming. Hang on. Gotta put on my battle suit of armor to talk about the reserve list today. You guys ready? Did you guys miss me? I like making these videos. This is my favorite time. Like, I work throughout the day, hustle, bustle, and cardboard life. Then I get to stop and, like, go over market news and talk with everybody. It's so much fun. Like, this is just so enjoyable to me. I love these videos. So today we're talking about the reserve list is just roaring with a vengeance, and prices are flinging everywhere. And actually, some of these cards on the list are actually not reserve list. Some of these are uncommons, and some of them are newer cards. And then, of course, we got the old card. We got all kinds of weird things and huge movements in the reserve list industry of the late and early 90s, midnight. Okay, so we're going to go through. I got a whole list of fun things. That's really all we're going to talk about today. Sorry to disappoint everybody with crazy shenanigans, but I want to tell you guys what I think my opinion is on these price spikes, and if I think some of these are going to hold, what I think some of these cards are worth, and some of these I think are, it's a Timmy trap, everybody. Be careful. So, let's get right into it. First thing on the card on the list we're going to jump right into is Power Artifact. Uncommon, Antiquities, been attempted to be bought out so many times over the years. It was like $80 to $100 for the longest time. It keeps trying to get pushed up, but it actually looks like near mint to mint unplayed copies of Power Artifact actually appear to be pushing like 150 plus now. It actually looks like it's starting to move, which tells me Transmute Artifact's probably going to be right behind it. In my personal opinion, the only reason this card has not moved dramatically higher is just the fact it's a U3 versus a U2. So in other words, it's an uncommon versus a rare in Antiquities. But with a sealed box of Antiquities running, what, $20,000, $30,000 plus now, if you can find one, forget it. There's not more supply coming in the market. So that's the first thing. If that is a card you're interested in, everybody, am I even in the frame? Sorry, I'm like off to the left. Am I good enough? Professional channel. If that's a card you guys have always been wanting for your personal collections or long-term positions, that is a card I would definitely have exposure to, because the Transmute and Power Artifact, the two big blue dudes from Antiquities, long overdue for a price movement. Next, we got Crusade. This one really caught me off guard. Alpha Beta Unlimited Revised. It's been reprinted like 1,000,000 times. So, Crusade, in my opinion, skyrocketing prices. People are paying craziness. The market's flinging everywhere. This is a card. This is a Timmy trap. I'm warning everybody up front. There are so many copies of Crusade out in the market. Unless you're dealing with Alpha, Beta, or maybe even Unlimited, maybe Revised. I'm using that very lightly. All these 4th edition newer printings of Crusade and people buying playsets for crazy prices just because it's in the news. I'm sorry, this is a Timmy trap. Unless it's the original ABU, this is a hard do not touch. These prices will not hold. Do not underestimate how many copies of this card are out there in the world. There are tons, everybody. But if you have an Alpha Beta, a PSA 10, a Beckett 995, if you have those are going to be very expensive. I don't see that changing because those are the original from the early 90s. They are the original first printings, which obviously of anything in this world are always going to hold the most value. Now, next card we're going to jump into is the infamous Invoke the P. Now, I apologize in advance. I never know if it's Invoke the prejudice, or I can never pronounce it right. So I'm just going to call it Invoke the P. So this is a card, I'm going to tell you right up front, the price has skyrocketed. Absolutely insane pricing on eBay, everybody. Now, the bad news is, if this is a card you want to get, I don't see, this is pretty much, in my opinion, just like Crusade, the Alpha Beta versions of Crusade are going to be expensive. Invoke the P is a $1,000 card. I'm sorry to say it, everybody, but based on the price movements and the demand for the card now, when I'm watching eBay, it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. So, if you're trying to collect a set of Legends, or if you're trying to build some weird blue deck or based around this, I guess. I don't know if anybody even plays the card. Unless you really have a specific purpose. Like, most people who buy this card are trying to get a whole set of Legends. I don't know what else you can really do with the card. But, the prices, I don't see this card going back to $100 a card, everybody. I just don't see it. This is going to be, in my opinion, I know this is crazy, but I guess $500 may be a good price. I'm sorry, I don't see the price retracing on this. It's a 1994 Legends card. It is rare, not an uncommon like Mana Drain or, of course, Power Artifact or Transmute. It's a $1,000 card. It is what it is. Next, we're going to jump over to something different here. brings me to Mana Drain, since we're talking about blue cards today. Mana Drain's an uncommon. Now, this Mana Drain's not on the reserve list, everybody. But Mana Drain continues to hit record high pricing. So now this card's a little bit different than Invoke the P, because this Mana Drain is played a lot. So a card like this, I can definitely tell you all right up front, I think Mana Drain will get reprinted again. I don't know when, kind of like Force of Will. We know it's getting reprinted, but original 94 printings of this card, I just don't think they're ever going to go back to below like $50 or $100. I just don't see it, especially for an unplayed version. So, next card here. Actually, I'm sorry, this is not a card. This is a sealed box. A lot of messages, because everybody knows, I'm going to be very blunt up front. Now, everybody knows every card in this list I own substantial positions in. Like, for example, when we talk about Legends, Arabian Nights, Revised Dual Lands, Power Artifact. I mean, I own tremendous positions. Please don't contact me. I'm not looking to sell, even if the price is up 400% or 500%. I didn't really buy into a lot of these to flip them or sell them. Everybody knows that. Anybody who's been around long enough on this channel, you know I simply just like old Magic cards. So, the next is Mirage boxes. So we're seeing a huge swing in sealed product on Mirage boxes. I had this topic slated for my sealed box update video, but because apparently there's a lot of sensitive cards in Mirage, I didn't realize, because I think Mirage, I think Phyrexian Dreadnought, I think Tutors, and I think Lion's Eye Diamond. Apparently there's a lot of smaller cards now that are getting bought up and prices are spiking. A lot of other people are now targeting the sealed boxes of Mirage because they'd like to hold that mutual fund, kind of the basket of the set. So, as of the filming of this video, I immediately noticed the $700, $800, $900 prices for Mirage boxes are gone. In my opinion, Mirage is now pretty much probably going to be a $2,000 box. I don't care if it's a starter brick or a booster box. It's the same amount of rares, same amount of uncommons. Actually, no, if it's the starter brick, in my opinion, is worth more than the booster box, because you also get the same rares, uncommons, but you also get a ton of that old school basic land, which is gorgeous. So, Mirage boxes are pushing over 1,000 as of the film. By the time you guys watch this video, I wouldn't be surprised it's 12, 13, 1,400. Mirage boxes, in my opinion, they're $2,000 a box now. Is what it is. I don't see it changing anytime soon. Especially Mirage is a very distinctive, like, what kind of theme was that? Was it, I think it was, just had like a bunch of animals and like stones, the Lion's Eye Diamond. Didn't have an uncommon set of like the red, green, blue, black, white stone set. Anyway, I can't remember. Whatever. Maybe I'm thinking of Tempest. Those are medallions. Whatever. Okay, so I think Mirage boxes, another side effect, going higher. Next, people wanted me to ask me about Jihad, which is an Arabian Nights card from 1994. Obviously, everybody knows Arabian Nights is my favorite set. Obviously, Library of Alexandria and Bazaar Baghdad. Everybody knows I'm known for those two particular cards. So today, I've got a ton of questions on Rudy. What do you think of the price spike in the Jihad card? So Jihad's a white Arabian Nights. I believe it is a rare. I think it's a U2, not a U3. Bad news is this was a $50 to $80 card. It appears to be a $200 to $500 card. Same thing with the Invoke the P, the sealed Mirage boxes, Power Artifact, Transmute, and those aren't even. I think Power and Transmute are those reserved? I think those are reserve lists. I'm sorry. Same thing. A lot of these cards are just so old that there's just not enough supply out there for 2020 modern era individuals to try to buy these cards. There's just not enough of these cards left. These cards are so old, everybody, that, so if a lot of people try to buy these now, the market price is going to get just wrecked and skyrocket higher because of the lack of print run. So Jihad, unfortunately, I do believe for a lot of people who don't have a copy and are trying to complete an Arabian Nights set, I do think that card is going to hold that $200 to $500 range. I don't think it's going to be as expensive as Evoke the P, mostly because the Jihad card was like $50 to $80 last year, and even through the 2017 reserve list spikes, Invoke the P was always like $150. It started off at a higher price already, so when you move the prices higher, I think the Invoke the P is going to be a $1,000 card, and I think Jihad will be the $300-400 average, maybe low of 2s, high of 5. Next thing we're going to jump to, a little bit different. We're going to Urza Saga now, everybody. Gilded Drake and Time Spiral. So I think a lot of these are more Commander, EDH kind of, because the Urza's cards are reserve list, but they're not as lowly printed as the 93-94 reserve list, everybody. So this is a bizarre example, but Gilded Drake and Time Spiral, I mean, holy smokes, these things, Sorry, didn't want to lose you guys. 10 minutes. So, Gilded Drake and Time Spiral, these things are just relentless. I'm seeing Gilded Drake over 100, Time Spiral over 100 for unplayed near mint copies now. So, now these two examples compared to like Invoke the P, Gilded Drake and Time Spiral, this is like authentic demand. People want to play with these cards. The reserve list. So, you know, there is more sealed product of Urza Saga, Legacy, and Destiny out in the world. But especially with the Drake and the Time Spiral, those are Saga cards. Urza Saga has no foils in the box, unlike Legacy Destiny. The price of an Urza Saga box is what, $3,000-$4,000 a box, if you can find a legit one on the market from a good person. I don't see the price going down. You know, we're seeing a lot more movement in these reserve list cards lately. I almost want to say like a lot of these cards are just coming back with a vengeance, and people have been waiting for the price to go down and the market to stabilize before they start buying again. Maybe the economy, maybe the stimulus check thing, I don't know, but the amount of money and the amount of people buying these cards is pretty incredible. So, same thing. The Gilded Drake, Time Spiral, they're going to be probably averaging $200-$300 cards in the future. Again, if those are cards you want, make sure you do have exposure in your personal collection or investment position in collectibles, whatever you're trying to do, because, again, reserve list, iconic, definitely a solid tier 2 reserve list card. Not quite a power 9 reserve list, alpha, beta, Arabian Nights, but it's still pretty powerful stuff. Next, we're going to jump over to people I don't know how to pronounce Prejudice Gypsies. I got a lot of people asking for me to sell my Gypsy cards. This one I don't understand. I don't understand if this is a word play on something. I don't think the Gypsies card is a reserve list card at all. So, but the prices, I looked on eBay and people are buying these things like crazy. In my opinion, I think this is kind of a Timmy trap. I don't see these prices holding, because simply put, I believe this was even reprinted like a 4th edition or Chronicles or something. There's a lot of copies out there. I don't see the utility. People really aren't going to play with these things. Like Invoke the P. People aren't playing with this card. How many decks are playing with it? So I think the Gypsies card, be really careful. I don't know fully what that word, the Gypsies, is, but I would be very careful trying to buy or speculate or invest or flip these particular cards. I don't see, it looks really risky to me. I'd use caution, everybody. Next, we're going to jump over to dual lands. So I've been noticing revised dual lands, everybody, even unlimited, specifically revised duals. Have you seen Badlands? Tropical Island, Taiga, have you guys seen this? So we're seeing strong bids on the revised dual lands, everybody. Again, reserve list, cornerstone of any good collectible collection, any form of investment or serious Magic player, you got to have a set of revised duals. It's kind of the cornerstone, it's the foundation. We're seeing a lot of bids coming into revised duals. We're noticing strong, look at the charts, look at the sold, look at Badlands, near mint to mint copies. Look what's going on. I mean, go to your little MTG stocks and goldfish websites, look at the uptick on these things. Holy smokes. So Badlands, Tropical Islands, Taiga, it doesn't seem to be across the board. It only looks like certain dual lands, everybody. So I do want to lay that out there. It does not look like it's a blanket increase. It looks like it's only specific cards. So to me, again, this is a sign of money starting to flow back into older cards. About a week or two ago, was it about a week and a half ago, I made a video talking to everybody about, I noticed there was some bids and uptick in reserve list cards. We're starting to see movement. I made another video, like I said, it was a couple weeks ago, and it looks like the momentum seems to be pushing forward, and with some of these old cards having massive price spikes, and then you have revised dual lands having price spikes, then you have some non-reserve list cards that are still more legacy commander cards, like the power artifacts, mana drains. You know, this could really start creating some momentum for a lot more of the FOMO reserve list buyouts moving forward. Next, we're going to jump back to, what do I got here? Imprisons. Imprism. Not very familiar with this particular card. From what I saw, I googled this one. Legends. I think it's an uncommon or rare. I believe it's reserve list. This is one this is another one I think could be like the Gypsies, and it could be like, this one could be a Timmy trap, everybody. I don't see a card like this just skyrocketing in value and holding that value. This is going to have to be use a lot of caution, everyone. Financially speaking, number-wise, this is risky. This could easily, there could be a lot of people just trying to ride the news in the moment, trying to flip these cards, trying to make quick money on the backs of other people. I would be very careful with these kind of cards, especially a card like Imprisons. I don't see the benefit. The risk is just too high for that. It's like the Gypsy thing. It just seems dumb to me. I would not be putting money into something like that. I don't think there's a lot of sustainability and long-term growth. I just don't see it, everybody. But like I said earlier in the video, things like sealed Mirage boxes, which I do have a position in. Same thing with Invoke the P. Same thing with the Gilded Drake, revised dual lands, Jihad. These are a little bit different. These particular cards, I mean, they've been going up for the last 10 years in a row, and now they're spiking a little faster. The rate of change seems to be increasing. I don't see it changing anytime soon. It is what it is, everybody. Another one other here, people want me to ask about was the Stone Throwing Devils. Arabian Nights card, black card from Arabian Nights, 1994. I think it's a common. Isn't it common, everybody? This is something that people need to understand with Arabian Nights. There are a lot more common cards for Legends, Antiquities, and Arabian Nights out there than people realize. Now, Arabian Nights has the lowest print run out of the couple sets like the Dark and Legends and Antiquities, but trying to bid up the price of a common card, all it's going to take is for people who have a lot of these commons turn around and dump them on the market and lock in 200-300% gains, and the price can easily retrace back down. So I think everyone needs to be real careful on cards like Stone Throwing Devils, which is like a common card from Arabian Nights. It may be an uncommon. I apologize if I'm getting the rarity wrong. I'm pretty sure it's a common, though. That is a card that I just don't think it's going to really be able to sustain an elevated price because of how many are out there. And there's a lot of people out there that are willing to just take the profit and walk away. So be careful. That could also be a Timmy trap, everybody. Last thing on here I want to get into is I want to jump back over to the Gaia's Crate. We got the Cradle and Grim Monolith. More Legacy, Reserve List, Commander, blah, blah, blah. A lot of people ask me, Rudy, are those Reserve List cards going to hold in price? They continue to really kind of escalate in price and really be pretty strong. The Cradle and the Monolith, see, those are iconic Urza's cards from the late 90s. And there's no reason for cards like a Cradle or Grim Monolith to go down in price, ever! Like, there's no reason Grim Monolith should drop. There's no reason. Gaia's Cradle, Gia's Cradle, whatever you want, the Cradle is arguably one of the best rare lands in Magic's history. The stupid card doesn't even come into play tapped. And it's got a stupidly powerful ability. It costs nothing to play the Cradle. It literally doesn't even have a come into play tap delay. And the card is ridiculously powerful. It's green, which is notorious for elf decks and a bunch of creature decks. It's just, explain to me why the Cradle or Grim Monolith should go down in price. Instead of focusing on, Rudy, why does it keep going up? Explain to me why it should go down. Don't send me an email or message saying, Rudy, can you believe it's going up? This is unbelievable. I want the card. Well, if you want the card, everybody else does. That's why it's going up. It is what it is, everybody. So, that's all I have. Rudy with Alpha Investments. I wanted to share all these extreme market movements. Overall, like I said, most of these are 93, 94 reserve list cards. Everybody knows I have very large positions in all these cards. On average, it's just like Legends. My goal was 100 complete sets of Legends. My goal is 100 complete sets of Arabian Nights. You guys know I've been working on that goal for like 10 years. I don't think they're going to get any cheaper. But just be careful buying into moments where the prices spike, because usually we do have price retracement, and that could cause some financial losses in the short term. So besides that, reserve lists obviously continues to be a thing. I don't think it's going anywhere. Again, the Magic market continues to be on fire, and if this is a collectible and a long-term part of your portfolio you want to have exposure with your stocks, bonds, real estate, and collectibles, if Magic and vintage stuff is something you want to own, I don't think a lot of these are going to get any cheaper, and I would definitely keep an eye on the prices and maybe look for some deals or coupon codes out there. Other than that, everybody be safe. Thank you for watching, and as always, enjoy your day, and I hope you guys learned something.